Hey there, it's me Eden. Welcome to Crossdressing Adventure Stories. Today I'm going to share with you cross-dressing adventure stories called Classmate Turned Me into a Sissy, Part 5. So, if you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing and be a part of our inclusive community. You must be a bit cold sitting there in just your underwear, Kathy said. So I thought you might like to wear my bridesmaid's dress again, until the end of our meeting. Blake's face lit up at this, and he got up to follow Kathy to her closet where she handed him the dress. He was now more expert in putting it on, and had little trouble getting it over his head and then reaching for the zipper to pull up before it was all the way down on his shoulders. In a minute he was back with the girl sitting with them in the stunningly pretty dress with his long hair cascading over his shoulders. He sighed deeply with happiness and Amy, who was sitting next to him, squeezed his hand. Now there are a number of things we also have to take care of, Amy said. First of all, you should let your fingernails grow out like a girl's. That way, we can put polish on them during our outings together, and show off your very pretty hands, Pamela. Okay, that should be fun. Remember that you'll have to learn how to file them to a nice shape as they get long. We'll show you how, each week until they are our length. But won't my mom and dad see them long and wonder what I am doing? Oh, no. People won't look at your hands if you are dressed like a boy. They'll just assume that they are short and not take any notice. I guess you're right. You can always just say you forgot to cut them if anyone asks you. Blake nodded in agreement. His fingernails were recently trimmed, and he held his hand up trying to imagine how nice it would feel to have pretty long pink fingernails. Just another nice thing about being a girl, he thought to himself. Another thing you have to think about is having your monthly period, Penny said. Blake showed some surprise at this, but Penny continued right on. Usually, since the 5 of us original members are close to one another, we often have our periods at the same time. So we think that you ought to have a pretend period at the same time as us. For this you'll have to get some panty liners, maxi pads and all-night pads, which you can wear in your panties during the time of the period. First, for a few days before your period, you wear the panty liners to protect against an accident. Then during the heavy flow days you wear a maxi pad, and at night you wear really thick pads. We'll go shopping with you and help you pick out a supply. I guess it will be a nice way to feel close to you all during your periods, Blake said. Pam, it is really nice how agreeable you are to everything, since we were a bit worried that you would resist these things, Penny said. At this moment there was a sudden knock on the door of Kathy's bedroom, and before anyone could react, Mrs. O'Connor was in the room, saying, "Girls! Girls! Girls! I've just got a phone call from..." She froze in mid-sentence as her eyes fell upon Blake, whose face was now a bright scarlet color. He was feebly attempting to cover himself with the dress, which had the effect of exposing his crinolines to everybody as he lifted the outer skirt to his face. "What in the world are you girls doing? And Blake, what in the world are you doing in Kathy's dress and a wig?" she exclaimed loudly. "Mom, Mom!" Kathy yelled. "You don't understand. It's all right, we can explain. Blake is now one of the girls in our club." "What in heaven's name have you done to Blake? And Blake, how could you let yourself be made such a fool of? Since when does a young man go prancing around in a dress?" She walked over to him and lifted up the crinolines to see that he was wearing pink panties. She pulled open the top of the dress and saw that he had a bra on as well. "Oh, my lord, this is unbelievable. A bra and panties? What else?" The effect of this on Blake was shattering, and he began to cry. The girls were caught in complete disarray and were protesting vigorously to Mrs. O'Connor that she didn't understand, and that Blake was not being made fun of, and that they were all just trying to be close to one another in a completely natural way. Mrs. O'Connor was very excited and seemed beyond listening to the girls. She said, "I've really got to speak to your parents, Blake, and let them know that you have a real problem. Come with me." She grabbed Blake by the wrist and stood him up and then quickly led him out of the room behind her with his dress rustling and crinolines flying around him and his long hair bouncing against his back. She took him downstairs to the living room and pushed him down into a seat next to her. She said, "What is your phone number? I must call your mom right now and discuss this with her." Blake, in the middle of his loud sobbing, yelled out, "Oh, please don't. Please don't tell her. I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. What is the number?" Mrs. O'Connor demanded. Blake, between sobs of his heaving chest, told her the number. By this time the girls from the club had joined them downstairs and were still protesting. "Mrs. O'Connor, I really think you owe it to all of us to listen to our side of things before you involve Blake's mom and dad. We understand that it was a big surprise to you, but we implore you to hold off." Karen was speaking now with some authority as president of the Girls Only Club. Mrs. O'Connor said, "I am sorry, but this is serious and needs to be taken care of very quickly." She said this with a bit less emphasis than before, and the girls fell silent, hoping that she was changing her mind. Amy had come over next to Blake and made him put his head in her lap. While he sobbed softly, she stroked his head. "Don't worry, Pam, no matter what happens we'll still be your friends." On hearing Amy address Blake as Pam, Mrs. O'Connor winced noticeably, and then she dialed the number. Everyone could hear the rings, and then Blake's mom could be heard saying, "Hello? Oh, hello, this is Mrs. O'Connor, Kathy's mom." "Oh, yes, Blake said that he would be playing there today after school. Is everything all right? That's all for today. See you in the next video, till then take care. Oh yes, please like and subscribe to my channel. And also share your feedback, it really means a lot to me."